Hello, all, and welcome to the Rebel Preacher, Mike here. And just before we preface this, I just want to start off and let you know that I am just sharing thoughts, things that I have been thinking about here lately, and different videos that I've been dealing with. And I just wanted to share some thoughts here. And again, I'm not here to lead you. I'm not here to uh, be your pastor, to be your anything like that. I'm just here on YouTube to share my experiences of what I've learned. And what I've learned over the at least the past 10 years, I have been in the Dead Sea Scrolls material, not the scrolls itself. I don't read Hebrew that well, but I've been studying under Iserman and Tabor, their materials. I've actually been in classes with Iserman online and everything. And there's one thing you come to understand is this enigma, this man, Paul of Tarsus, that he is either the enemy of all enemies, or for Christians, he is the second thing to Messiah you can have. And I kind of want to smooth this over here and bring another thought into this because I think this is probably a plausible thought here that many people don't think about. I know many scholars have, but I want to bring this up to you because many times when we study like the Tanakh or the New Testament or the scriptures, we believe that these scriptures came in the order like we have them today. In other words, they started with Genesis and they went all the way. And then in the New Testament, it started with Matthew. And this is just so much not true. In other words, the Christians were the first one to put a canon together of scripture. And then a hundred years later, the Jews put theirs together. But the Jews actually used the canons that the churches actually used. I mean, the books are put in differently and everything, but it's basically the same books. And we know that books like Enoch and a lot of other books were not included within the canon of the New Testament. So when we look at the layout of the books and the scholars give us the information, and we know that Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, none of them wrote these books. Luke may have wrote some, but we really don't have a clue of who these books were written by. Now, we know within Scripture that books are given names for ideas. And we know Enoch didn't write his book. We know that, they were given of inspiration of that book. In other words, none of the Old Testament books were probably written by the person's name that's on the book. So we have a problem with that. But anyway, this is not what that video is about. This video is about the canon of the New Testament. Because when the scholars take the books that we have today that makes the New Testament that we have today, the 66 books, it is placed in order of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and then Acts, and then we go into Romans and stuff of that nature. And it's kind of deceiving because it's not put in the order that the dates the books were written. In other words, if we really went by the way the books were written, Paul's letters would have to come first because Paul's letters were the earliest writings of anything about the New Testament that we have today was even about. And Mark probably came after 70 AD, maybe later than that, because when you read the early Christian writers, none of them mentioned the Gospel of Mark. None of them. The only thing we really have is the Gospel of the Ebionites, which has been destroyed, or the Nazarenes, which is gone now. I think they have a few fragments. That's about it. And that's second century. So a lot of the things that we have, and, we know John was definitely after 100 years afterwards. And Luke and Matthew, we really don't know because you don't see a lot of the early fathers quoting any of these gospels. Matter of fact, the ones they do quote are the ones that are not in the scripture, interesting enough. But what I'm trying to say is I want to propose this thought to you. And I've been thinking about this through studies of some Gnostic thoughts and things of this nature. And again, I'm not going to define what I mean by Gnosticism. I don't mean a religion per se. I mean the understanding of gnosis, the understanding of that you have a divinity within you, that you have a spark within you, that you are God, whatever you want to say about that issue. And even Jesus said, don't you know that in your book it says that you are gods? He says that within the New Testament scripture. What I want to propose here is when you look at comparison of Paul's letters, he never writes about a virgin birth. He never writes about Mary. He never writes about Nazareth. He never writes about the murdering of the quote children that there's no history of within the New Testament that actually happened. There's no mention of whether Jesus was from Nazareth or Bethlehem, which if you read the Gospels, you've got different stories telling you different things there. And by the way, the Gospels do not line up as one perfect witness. There's more confusing if you really break it down into it than what there's there. What I'm saying is Paul never verifies. He doesn't even mention the Gospels. He doesn't even mention any of the writings within the church. What we know about is what we have of Paul. And Paul's worldview is different from that of the Gospels and James and all of these other guys. And the reason why I believe this, and this is just my thought, not trying to lead anybody on, I'm just trying to spice your thoughts up. And if it's true, it's true. If it's not, we won't be able to prove it here on this existence anyway. I think Paul was not talking about Jesus of Nazareth. I think he was talking about a Christ consciousness. He was talking about the presence within you. Now, I believe his letters were butchered. I believe his letters were taken by the early church and manipulated into a man, Jesus Christ. But I don't think when you really read Galatians and when you read Ephesians, it don't jive with what we're reading within Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, the words of Jesus, because the words of Jesus that we have written within the Testaments and the words of Paul do not line up. Paul is definitely talking about a more spiritual, born again experience. He's, not the law. And, Jesus says no jot, no dot, no tittle, nothing will change before the law is done away with. But Paul is talking about a spiritual understanding. Paul is spiritualizing everything. Paul is saying to give up everything for this calling of that Christ consciousness, where Jesus, James, and the Ebionites are talking about more of the law of Moses that we see going on here. And, this is just a thought. I'm not trying to lay any doctrine on you or nothing like that, but I am trying to share what I'm seeing here. Is I think Paul was from a different school than the Nazarene, the early church people. I don't think he was with them. I think he was talking about something totally different. The way he went in to Rome or Corinthians, and he saw the name of the unknown God, and he started telling you who the unknown God was and stuff of that nature. I really believe Paul was a Gnostic. And when I say that, I know there's so much stigma with that word. But I think Paul was teaching from a higher understanding than what the Gospels are. We know the Gospels are teaching basically believe in Jesus and preach the word. But Paul was so much more, man. Paul was talking about giving up of yourself, destroying the ego, putting others before you. He was talking like a Gnostic. Now, not all things he lined up. I don't know what school he would have been a part of. But we definitely see Paul had a different understanding. Hello, Gnostic Revelation Mysteries. I want to talk to you, by the way. Paul was totally in a different understanding than the rest of the disciples were. So it makes me wonder when I read things, was he from a different school? Was the letters of Paul, 7 of them at least, we know other ones were forgeries. Was he speaking more of a Gnostic understanding of a Messiah that's within you, not that of Jesus of Nazareth? Maybe he was teaching from another different arena that the church brought in, hacked his letters, and made them about Jesus Christ, not the Christ consciousness that we all seek. Because that is what we should be seeking, is that Christ consciousness, that divine spark within us that makes us a better person, in which we leave our egos, that which we leave all of these things for that divine purpose of loving others, being a positive influence, elevating this world around us, loving the animals, loving nature. This is what it's about. And when you read Paul's letters, you can see this. But when the church gets a hold of these letters and they butcher them and change them, you all of a sudden see a whole different picture of Paul that you don't see there. But how do you jump? How do I add you in here? This is StreamYard. I don't know how I can add you. Hold on here. We're live here, so this is different. So let me see if I can invite. I don't know how to invite him in. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, hey, there he is right there. I can't get him on. Let's see. Let me see if I can. Hold on one second, folks. We're doing something here that I have never done before ever. So let's see. I don't want to use you. Oh man, Amar, I'm having problems. I don't know how to get you on here. I don't know how to get you on here. But that's what I'm saying is we have to be understanding that maybe that this whole concept of what Jesus is talking about uh, of the Christ consciousness, it's not about the man that we hear about and stuff like that, but yet it's something totally different. So think about this. I mean, it's all on the table. We can't prove anything, but I can show you in Paul's letters that he's speaking about something so much higher than that of a man who died upon the cross and stuff of this nature. So think about it. Read your letters again, and Amir, I'd love to have you on the show, but I can't figure out how to do it. But thank you for coming in. But until next time, like I said, I just want to give you a thought presentation here. And until next time, y'all have a great day. Think about it. Reach for the stars. Elevate yourself. It's not about this here now. It's about elevating ourselves, letting that Christ consciousness. And Amar's got a great book on that, the Eliminated Gospels and stuff like that. I didn't plan on this, Amar. That's pretty cool. All right. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day. Thank you.